What if the first place where Tien finally felt like she was truly someone's wife was also the place where her oldest fear quietly came back to life? What if the sea, with its warm golden sunlight, soft waves, and peaceful wind, was not only Jack's honeymoon gift to her, but also the beginning of a question that neither of them was really ready to face? After the wedding, Tien thought their first days as husband and wife would be simple. Maybe they would just stay home. Maybe they would sleep a little longer in the morning, eat the food left from the wedding, clean up a few things, and finally rest after so many busy days. The wedding had been beautiful, but it had also been tiring. There had been too many people, too many greetings, too many smiles, too many eyes looking at her. Some eyes were kind, some eyes were curious, and some eyes still made her feel as if her past had followed her all the way into her new life. So when everything was over, Tien only wanted peace. A quiet room, a warm meal, and Jack beside her. But Jack had been hiding something. That morning, Tien was folding a few clothes in their room when Jack walked in. He stood at the doorway with a smile he was clearly trying to control. Tien looked up and immediately knew something was wrong. "Why are you smiling like that?" Jack tried to sound calm. "Pack a small bag." She paused. "For what?" 2 or 3 days. Tien put the clothes down and looked at him more carefully. "Jack, are you keeping a secret from me?" "No." The answer came too fast. Tien narrowed her eyes. "You answered too quickly." Jack laughed. He could never hide anything from her for long. "Just trust me," he said. "This is the first gift I want to give my wife after the wedding. My wife." Those 2 words were simple, but they touched something soft inside her. For so long, Tien had heard words that made her feel small. Words that judged her. Words that reminded her of pain. But when Jack called her his wife, it did not feel heavy. It felt warm. It felt safe. So she packed. A few dresses, a light jacket, a comb, a few small things she always carried. Before she could pick up the bag, Jack had already taken it. "I can carry it," she said. "I know," Jack replied, "but let me." It was such a small thing, but Tien felt it. Jack was not trying to make a big speech. He was simply showing her in all these little ways that from now on, she did not have to carry everything alone. When the car left the village, Tien still did not know where they were going. At first, everything outside the window looked familiar. The mountain road, the old trees, the thin mist hanging between the hills, the quiet houses passing slowly behind them. Those mountains had witnessed so much of her life. They had seen her grow tired. They had seen her swallow tears. They had seen the days when she was misunderstood, the nights when she felt lonely, and the moments when she thought happiness might never come to her again. But little by little, the view began to change. The mountains moved farther behind them. The road became wider. The trees became fewer. And the air felt different. Tien lowered the window a little. A cool breeze rushed in and touched her face. There was a smell in that wind she could not name at first. It was not the smell of soil after rain. It was not the smell of leaves or smoke from cooking fires. It was salty, fresh, wide. She turned to Jack. He was pretending to focus on driving, but every few minutes he looked at her from the corner of his eye. He looked like someone who had hidden a present and could hardly wait for it to be opened. Tien smiled. "You keep looking at me because you want me to guess." Jack cleared his throat. "I'm just checking if you're tired." "No. You're checking if I know where we're going." He tried to stay serious, but he failed. "Maybe," he admitted. A little later, Tien heard something. At first, it was very faint. A low sound from far away. She thought it might be wind. But then it grew stronger, deeper. Rolling under the noise of the car, it sounded steady and alive, like something huge was breathing somewhere ahead. Her heart suddenly beat faster. Jack, he did not answer. He only smiled. The car passed a row of palm trees, turned onto a bright road, and suddenly the whole world opened in front of her. The sea was there, wide, blue, shining under the sun. Tien froze. For a few seconds, she could not speak. She had heard people talk about the sea before. She had seen pictures. She had imagined it many times, but seeing it with her own eyes was different. The sky seemed to fall into the water. The waves moved toward the shore again and again, bright on top and deep underneath. It was so beautiful that her chest hurt. The mountains had protected her, but they had also carried too many memories. The sea felt different. The sea did not ask about her past. It did not judge her. It simply opened itself in front of her, wide and free. Jack slowed the car. "Do you like it?" Tien did not answer right away. The wind lifted her hair, and her eyes stayed on the waves as if she was afraid the sea would disappear if she looked away. Jack's voice became softer. "I wanted to bring you somewhere different," he said. "Somewhere no one looks at you and remembers your pain. Somewhere you don't have to explain anything. Somewhere you can just be my wife." Tien turned to him. Her eyes were bright. "You planned all of this?" Jack nodded. "Not perfectly, but I tried, and somehow that was enough. More than enough." The homestay Jack chose was small and white, standing close to the beach like a quiet little house from a dream. There was a wooden porch, thin curtains moving in the breeze, a few rattan chairs outside, and a sandy path leading straight down to the water. It was not luxurious, it was not grand, but it was peaceful, and for Tien, peace was worth more than anything expensive. Jack carried the bags inside. Their room had a large window facing the ocean. Sunlight lay across the white bed. The curtains moved softly in the wind. Outside, the waves rose and fell, making a gentle sound that seemed to calm every tired place inside her. Tien walked to the window and stood there for a long time. She did not say anything. Jack watched her from behind. At first he smiled, but when she stayed quiet too long, he began to worry. "Tien," he asked carefully, "do you not like it?" She turned around. Then she walked back to him and wrapped her arms around his waist. Jack froze for a moment, then held her close. "I like it," she whispered. "I just didn't know a place could make me feel this light." Jack lowered his chin gently against her hair. For so long, Tien had carried other people's opinions like stones in her chest. She had been the woman with a painful past, the bride some people whispered about, the wife who had once been judged and made to feel as if she had to explain her wounds to everyone. But here, beside the sea, those stones seemed to loosen. Not disappear completely, but loosen. Here, nobody knew the old story. Here, nobody measured her by what had happened before. Here, she was just Tien, Jack's wife, a woman beginning again. That afternoon, Jack took her down to the beach. Tien took off her sandals and stepped carefully onto the sand. The sand was warm near the path, but cooler closer to the water. She lifted the edge of her dress a little, both nervous and excited. When a small wave slid forward and touched her toes, she gasped. "It's cold." Jack laughed and held out his hand. "Come closer. Just a little." Tien looked at him suspiciously. "Your just a little is never just a little. I promise." "I don't trust that face." Before she could move away, Jack gently pulled her closer to the water. At that exact moment, a wave rushed up faster than either of them expected. It splashed over their feet and soaked the bottom of Jack's pants. Jack jumped back. "Oh no, I'm sorry." Tien stared at his guilty face. Then she laughed. A real laugh. Clear, bright, and free. It was not the polite laugh she used in front of other people. It was not the careful laugh of someone trying to be fine. It came from deep inside her, from a place that had been quiet for a long time. Jack stopped moving. The water touched his ankles, but he did not seem to notice. He just looked at her. Tien wiped the corner of her eye, still smiling. "Why are you staring?" Jack's voice was gentle. "Because I haven't heard you laugh like that in a long time." Her smile softened. For a moment, the waves filled the silence between them. Then Jack quickly took out his phone. "Wait, I need to take a picture." "No, Jack, My hair is messy. It's beautiful. The wind is blowing it everywhere. Still beautiful. He took the pictures anyway, and most of them were terrible. One had too much sky. One caught Tien blinking. One had her hair covering half her face. Another was so tilted that the ocean looked like it might fall out of the screen. Tien looked at the photos, then looked at him helplessly. You have no talent as a photographer. Jack studied the pictures seriously. That's not true. It's just difficult. What is difficult? The sea is beautiful. The sky is beautiful. The wind is beautiful. And you are beautiful. I didn't know what to focus on first. Tien tried not to smile. She failed. They walked along the shore until the sun began to lower behind them. Their footprints followed them across the wet sand. Sometimes Tien walked ahead. Sometimes Jack slowed down just to watch her. Sometimes their shoulders touched and neither of them said anything. Jack picked up a small shell. It was pale and smooth, shaped like a tiny moon. He placed it in her palm as if it were something precious. "Keep it," he said. "A memory from our first trip as husband and wife." Tien closed her fingers around it carefully. A little later, Jack found a small stick and crouched near the water. He wrote in the wet sand, "Jack and Tien." For a moment the words were clear, simple, beautiful. Tien looked at their names together, and her heart felt warm. Then a wave came forward. It washed over the letters, blurring them first, then taking them away completely. Tien's smile faded. "It's gone," she said quietly. Jack stood up, took her hand, and placed her palm against his heart. "Only from the sand," he said. "Not from here." Tien looked at him. The wind blew between them, cool and salty. Something inside her trembled. It was happiness, but happiness so delicate that it almost frightened her. For someone who had lost so much, being loved gently could feel like holding a glass cup and fearing it might break. That evening, Jack told Tien to change into something comfortable. He said it in such a normal voice that another person might have believed him, but Tien already knew him well enough. When Jack tried too hard to look calm, it usually meant he was hiding another surprise. She stood in front of the mirror, tying her hair loosely, and looked at him through the reflection. "Jack?" "Yes? You planned something again, didn't you?" Jack looked up too quickly. "No." Tien turned around. "You are really bad at lying." He laughed and held out his hand. "Then don't ask too much, just come with me." Outside, the sky had turned orange and purple. The path from the homestay to the beach was lit with small garden lights. The sea breeze carried the smell of grilled food and salt water. Then Tien saw the table. It was set near the shore. A simple wooden table. 2 chairs, candles in glass cups, a small jar of white flowers, warm yellow lights hanging above them swaying gently in the wind. Nothing was expensive. Nothing was expensive. But everything had been prepared with care, and care, Tien had learned, could touch a wounded heart more deeply than luxury ever could. She stopped walking. Jack became nervous. "Is it too much?" Tien shook her head. "No, it's beautiful." Jack let out a quiet breath. "I don't really know what a perfect honeymoon should look like. I just tried to think of what would make you smile." That sentence touched her more than any rich gift, because Jack was not trying to show the world that he loved her. He was trying to show her. They sat down as the sun slowly lowered toward the water. Dinner was simple. Grilled seafood, vegetables, sliced fruit, a few local dishes, and fresh juice. Jack tried to peel shrimp for Tien with a serious face, as if this was a very important duty. At first, he looked confident. Then the shell broke in the wrong place. Sauce covered his fingers. One shrimp nearly slipped off the plate. Tien stared at him, then laughed. "Jack, give it to me." "No," he said, still trying. "A husband should take care of his wife. You can take care of me without losing a battle to seafood." "I'm not losing, I'm just winning slowly." She shook her head, took a napkin, and gently wiped the sauce from his fingers. Jack went quiet. It was such a small thing. But sometimes love did not need a big stage. Sometimes it was only a napkin. a messy hand, and someone wiping it clean with patience. For a moment, Jack just looked at her. The candles moved in the wind. The last sunlight touched her face. And in that quiet second, Tien did not feel like a woman trying to prove she deserved love. She felt loved. After a while, Jack reached across the table and held her hand. "I want to take you somewhere every year," he said. Tien looked up. "Every year?" "Yes. Sometimes the sea, sometimes the mountains, sometimes a place neither of us knows. It doesn't have to be far." She smiled softly. "What if life becomes too busy? Then we'll go for one afternoon. And if we don't even have one afternoon?" Jack thought seriously. "Then we'll sit together in front of the house for 10 minutes and call it our trip." Tien looked at him, half amused, half moved. "That counts? With you, everything counts." The words were simple, but they stayed inside her, because Jack was not promising that life would always be easy. He was not saying there would never be tired days, bills, chores, or long evenings when both of them were too exhausted to talk much. He was promising something quieter, that even in ordinary days he would still choose her. After dinner, they walked along the beach under the moonlight. The sea at night felt different. During the day, it had been bright and playful. Now it was darker, deeper, almost secretive. The waves moved in and out like they were keeping old stories. The wind became cold, so Jack took off his jacket and placed it over Tien's shoulders before she could ask. They sat together on a wooden bench outside the homestay. Tien leaned her head on his shoulder. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Sometimes happiness does not need many words. Sometimes silence beside the right person can feel like medicine. After a while, Tien whispered, "Before, I used to think happiness was very far away." Jack turned slightly. "Far away? Like the sea," she said. "I knew it existed because other people talked about it, but I didn't think it was something I could really touch." Jack held her hand tighter. Tien looked out at the dark water. "Now I think happiness can be simple. Maybe it's just having someone beside you, someone who doesn't judge you, someone who stays." Jack's voice was low. "From now on, you don't have to go through any sad day alone." Tien closed her eyes. For that night, she believed him completely. For that night, the waves sounded like a blessing. But some wounds are strange. They do not always return when life is hard. Somebody, they return when life becomes too beautiful, because the heart suddenly becomes afraid of losing what it has just received. The next morning, after breakfast, Jack and Tien walked along the beach again. The sunlight was still soft. A few families were playing near the water. Children ran across the sand with small buckets and plastic shovels. Parents called after them, laughing and warning them not to go too close to the waves. At first, Tien only smiled. Then a small ball rolled across the sand and stopped near Jack's feet. A little boy ran after it, his cheeks round, his hair messy from the wind. Jack bent down and picked up the ball. "Is this yours?" The boy nodded and reached out with both hands. Jack handed it back gently, then pointed toward the water. "Be careful, okay? Don't run too close to the waves." His voice was so soft. Not the voice he used when joking with Tien. Not the voice he used when talking to adults. It was warm, patient, natural. Tien stood beside him, suddenly unable to move. She watched the way Jack lowered himself to the child's height. The way his eyes softened. The way he spoke as if protecting a child was something his heart already knew how to do. And just like that, a picture appeared in her mind. Jack holding a small hand. Jack teaching a child to walk on the sand. Jack laughing when a little voice called him Dad. That image should have made her happy. Instead, it hurt, because behind that sweet picture came an older memory. A colder house. Harsh words. The feeling of being blamed for a body that had already suffered enough. The shame of being treated like an incomplete wife. Tien forced a smile when Jack turned back to her. But her hand in his became looser. Later, when they bought coconut water near the beach, the vendor noticed their wedding rings and smiled warmly. "Newly married, right? Be happy, you two." May you soon have a baby to fill the house with joy." Jack smiled and thanked her politely. Tien smiled too, but her smile came a moment late. Jack noticed. "Are you tired?" he asked gently. Tien shook her head. "Maybe just the sun and the wind." Jack looked at her for another second, but he did not press. That was one of the things Tien loved about him. He saw her sadness, but he never forced it open. He waited. He stayed close. He let her come to him when her heart was ready, but all day Tien became quieter. The words followed her like a shadow. "Soon have a baby. Fill the house with joy. A complete home. A complete wife." She tried to push those thoughts away. She tried to smile when Jack talked. She tried to enjoy the last hours of the trip. She told herself not to ruin the honeymoon Jack had prepared with so much love. But old wounds do not disappear just because the view was beautiful. That night, on their last evening by the sea, Jack made warm tea and brought it to her. The room was quiet. The window was open. The curtains moved slowly in the night breeze. Outside, the ocean was dark and the waves sounded heavier than before. Tien sat beside the window, looking out. Her hands rested in her lap, but her fingers kept tightening around each other. Jack placed the cup beside her. Then he wrapped a shawl around her shoulders and sat down next to her. Not too close, not too far, just close enough for her to know he was there. "You've been quiet since morning," he said softly. "Something made you sad, didn't it?" Tien tried to smile. But the moment she did, tears fell. Jack's face changed. Tien. She looked down at her hands, ashamed of the tears. Ashamed of the fear, ashamed that even on the most beautiful trip of her life, the past still knew how to find her. "This morning," she whispered, "when I saw you with that little boy, I suddenly thought you would be such a good father." Jack went still. "You were so gentle with him, so natural. And I imagined it, Jack. I imagined you holding Il's hand. I imagined someone running to you and calling you Dad." Her voice broke, and then I got scared. Jack did not interrupt. "I know you love me now," Tien said, tears slipping down her face. "I know you chose me. But what if one day you regret it? What if one day you look at other families and feel something missing?" She swallowed, but the pain kept rising. "What if I can't give you a child, Jack?" The room became colder, or maybe it only felt that way. Tien wiped her tears, but more kept falling. "I tried to be happy. I really tried. I didn't want to ruin this trip. But when that woman wished us a baby, I felt like something inside me cracked again." Jack reached for her hand and held it tightly. After a long silence, Tien finally asked the question that had been hiding inside her heart all day. "Jack, if one day we don't have children, what will happen to us?" The room became terribly quiet. Jack looked at her, and his eyes slowly turned red. Not from anger, not from disappointment, but from the pain of finally seeing how heavy this fear had been for her. He moved closer and held both of her hands. "Tien," he said slowly, "I knew about your past before I married you." She looked at him through tears. "I knew people hurt you. I knew they made you feel guilty for something that was never your fault. I knew they made you carry shame that did not belong to you." His voice trembled, but it stayed firm. "But I did not marry you because you could give me a child." Tien stopped breathing for a second. Jack lifted her hand and held it against his cheek. "I married you because you are Tien," he said. "Because when you smile, my heart feels at home. Because when you sit beside me, even an ordinary day becomes a life I want to live. Because I don't want a family that doesn't have you in it." The tears Tien had been holding back finally broke completely. Jack pulled her into his arms. She cried against his chest, not quietly now, but with a kind of sobs that come when someone has been strong for too many years. Her shoulders shook. Her fingers gripped his shirt tightly, as if she was afraid his words might disappear if she let go. Jack held her tighter. His embrace felt like a promise, a sacred promise made in a small room by the sea, with no witnesses except the waves and the night wind. "If life gives us a child," he whispered, "we will love that child together. But if life gives us only each other, I will still be grateful. Tien cried harder. Jack pressed his cheek against her hair. Just the two of us is still a family, he said. Do you hear me? You and me, that is already a family. Outside, the sea kept its secrets. The waves came and went in the darkness, as if they were guarding the fragile happiness inside that room. The next morning, before leaving the homestay, Jack and Tien stood together facing the ocean. Tien's fear had not disappeared overnight. Some wounds do not leave just because someone loves you well. Some fears need time. Some pain needs to be spoken many times before it finally becomes lighter. But her eyes were different. Lighter. Softer. Because for the first time, she had spoken the fear out loud. And Jack had not stepped away. He had stayed. Jack reached for her hand, and they walked slowly across the wet sand. The waves came close to their feet, but did not reach them. Tien turned back one last time to look at the sea. The wind blew her hair across her face, and Jack gently tucked it behind her ear. She looked at him and smiled. A small smile, a tired smile, but real. Then they walked forward together, their footprints side by side on the sand. Behind them, the waves slowly erased the marks they had left. Ahead of them, the road home was waiting, and neither of them knew that after they returned, when Tien finally tried to stop fearing the future, her body would begin to show tiny signs they were both too Afra. A two name. Was it only exhaustion after the wedding? Was it only the sea air, the travel, and all the emotions she had carried? Or was hope, quietly and dangerously, already beginning to grow in the silence? For now, Jack only held her hand tighter, and somewhere beneath the calm morning light, something was beginning to change.